This is gonna be another one where I make the Europeans mad. Welcome back to One Hit Wonderland, where we take a look at bands and artists known for only one song. Known for only one song in my neck of the woods anyway. I am still doing the requests I sold to pay for my dog's vet bills, and also the carpet cleaning because the meds messed up her digestion. Fun times. Anyway, we only got a couple to go, and this is a big one. A double big one. We are going back to the magical year of 1983, one of the best years in music history. Somewhat overshadowed by 84, but still a monumental year in its own right, partially because of the influx of a whole lot of great British rock bands on MTV. The UK is way ahead of the curve on music videos, so all sorts of acts who wouldn't get a look in America are now getting their shot. Or in this case, their shot! Yes, we are talking about the band Big Country and their hit song, In a Big Country. In a big country, dreams stay with you. A top 20 hit, an enduring classic, and perhaps one of the most Scottish songs to ever exist. America demands at least one incredibly Scottish act every decade. In the 70s it was the Bay City Rollers, in the 90s it was the Proclaimers, in between we had Big Country, who could absolutely compete with those bands in their Scottishness. What with their heavy use of plaid and the unmistakable tone of bagpipes in their music. You hear that and you just want to paint half your face blue and start golfing.
Yes, we're all good country boys, you know. You live up in the hills in our little butties and sit around the campfire singing songs with our fiddles and bagpipes.
Big Country more or less disappeared after that. In this Big Country at least, but they were still definitely bigger than you might think. In fact, I haven't covered them before now for that reason. They are very legit, their one-hit wonder status is dubious, and unfortunately their story does not have a very happy ending. So if you want the warm fuzzies, maybe not this episode, guys. But I can live and breathe and see the sun in winter time. The song's very uplifting though, it's one of the greats of its era, and it's very confusing why most people don't know a second song by them. Like, if any band should have been bigger, it's the one with the word big in their name and also the title of their biggest song. What happened here? Well, put on your tartan and get ready to reel and jig, because we're about to find out. Shit! Our story begins in Dunfermline, Scotland. A working-class, hard-scrabble, economically depressed rat hole of poverty and misery. I'm kidding, it looks very nice. It's just every music documentary I've ever seen depicts this time in British history as grainy, gray, and miserable. To show you why the world needed punk rock! Oi, oi, oi! Alright, punk rock in the UK usually came from London, or at least another major city in England. But it did reach Scotland, and some bands did make it out of there. And one small-town Scottish boyo from Dunfermline named Stuart Adamson started his own band called The Skids. Oi, oi, oi! Fun fact, there was an ad in the 80s making fun of how you can't understand the lyrics to their songs. No man, that's just a Scottish accent. Better fidelity isn't gonna help. Now, unlike in America, in the UK, the punk bands were actual, real, genuine rock stars on TV and stuff, so the Skids were actually a pretty real chart presence with some hit songs. Now, things got a little dicey on their second album because of this controversial album cover. Oh man, it's evoking a little something. They had to spend a lot of time assuring people that they were not Nazis, which is always a fear in punk rock. Like, even some of the more innocent ones at the time were wearing actual swastikas for the laughs, so, you know, people were a little on edge about that. I like this one. It's called Working for the Yankee Dollar. Which is funny because they didn't get a cent of American money, or at least this band didn't. Now, punk rock is kind of a limiting art form, and the band was already kind of drifting away from punk as the 80s began. Also, Adamson clashed a lot with his co-lead singer there, Richard Jobson, and he quit the band several times before officially leaving for good in 1981. He quickly started a new band he called Big Country. He got a new guitarist.
This here is Bruce Watson.
And they tried going as a duo with a drum machine for a while, but eventually they got a real rhythm section. The Skids had once had an opening act called On the Air, fronted by Pete Townsend's little brother Simon Townsend. And when that band broke up, Big Country snagged their rhythm section for themselves.
Mark Bazicki up here, and Mr. Tony Butler, the cool dude.
And can I say, it is nice to see one of these British 80s bands that isn't like blindingly pasty white. Also, they are from London, not Scotland.
The image I've always had of the band is being a Scottish band, but you two are Londoners, so...
So technically, this isn't a fully Scottish band. But no one cares what a drummer thinks, so. Now, the Skids had already been evolving past punk pretty quickly, as were most bands in the early 80s. But post-punk went a lot of different places. And Big Country wound up in kind of a whole separate scene. It wasn't jagged and nervy like most post-punk. It wasn't all made up and glam like new wave. It wasn't electric like synth pop. Their style was kind of like a loosely related group of bands who were influenced by punk and new wave, but more down to earth with these soaring anthemic stadium choruses and Celtic influences. One of these bands, the Waterboys, released a song called The Big Music. And that became like the catch-all term for this genre. And for the record, I don't think any of these bands like that label at all, but that's what it was called, the big music. And one of these bands would become very big indeed. And for the record, U2 is gonna come up a lot because their story intersects with Big Country's many times. But that is in the future. In the meantime, Big Country puts out their first single. Doesn't really look like it got anywhere, although I love the drummer's insane drum kit. It looks like it mutated Akira style. When that song didn't go anywhere, they started over with a new producer, Steve Lillywhite, aka the guy who made all of U2's early stuff and would become a really big rock producer. And that's when things really start getting going for them. Like, here's their first UK hit, Fields of Fire, where they really start sounding like themselves, and it rips. Only 400 miles? Pfft, the Proclaimers got you beat there. And they finished the whole album after that. It's an expansive album dealing with such universal themes as loss, separation, dehumanization, and the 1745 Jacobite Rebellion. And thank you, Wikipedia. But it was their next single that would be the most Big Country song of all. A Big Country song about a big country. It was called Okay, despite doing a decent bit of research, I don't actually know how they came up with the name Big Country, nor do I know why they also have a song with the words Big Country in the title. Did the song come first, or did the name come first, or, you know, they just heard those words over and over till they wrote a song about it? I don't know. Just something about the phrase Adamson must have really liked. Anyway, this was the first song that really broke them in the UK, and also the US, thanks to a little network called MTV. And I would not even say that the video is anything special. I mean, they're just bouncing around in the countryside, having adventures, hunting for treasure, I guess, in the Scottish Highlands, or Lowlands, I don't know. I don't even think that's Scotland, actually. So while this was a big MTV hit, you can't really say it's a success because of the video, the way that, you know, Rio or Take On Me are. I think it was a hit entirely on its own merits. Like, this was a time where, for some reason, America wanted its pop songs to take us to exotic locations. Africa, Australia, China, Bangkok. So you know what, why not Bonnie Scotland? Like, they never say anything specifically Scottish. There's no Robert Burns poetry with a bunch of weird vowels in there or anything. But you can't miss it. Like, they got the accent, the green hills, and especially that riff. Like, what evokes Scotland better than the bagpipes, right? You hear that sound, you immediately want to put on a kilt, eat some haggis, dive into a bin full of money.
Don't start that again.
The thing is, of course, that this is not actually the bagpipes, and any piper could tell you that immediately because the bagpipes cannot make sounds like that. Like, you gotta understand, the bagpipes are a nonsense instrument. It plays 9 notes, it can't be tuned, and it's off-key compared to the standard tuning of every other instrument. That's the sound of a guitar, as filtered through some very specific effects pedals that I've never heard any other band use. So it's very cool. It's what bagpipes would sound like if the bagpipes made listenable music. I'm kidding again. There's already an angry group of pipers marching towards me right now to stomp some amazing grace into my ass. But what is this song about?
In a big country, dreams stay with you.
I don't know exactly. Like, I don't know what a big country means. Like, for the longest time, I thought this song was about America. You know, dreams stay with you, land of opportunity. And also because it is a very big country, bigger than Scotland at least. But the more I looked, the more I don't think it is. I think he probably just meant the Scottish countryside, which can seem very big if you look at it. And he seems to be addressing somebody who's had some kind of setbacks in life.
Another promise falling through, another season passes by you.
Being like, you know, why are you so down? I know things aren't great, but the future still exists.
So take that look out of here, it doesn't fit you. Because it's happened doesn't mean you've been discarded.
Like, I don't know what Adamson was thinking of at the time he wrote it, but it feels especially relevant in this era of rampant doom scrolling. Don't sit around moping for the rest of your life. In a big country, dreams stay with you. Like, you know what they got out in the big country? Grass, which you can touch. I also love that the entire song is sung in harmony. Although it does make it hard to do at karaoke. Like, I can never remember whether I'm supposed to be doing the high part or the low part, because I'm pretty sure it switches.
In a big country, dreams stay with you.
In a big country, dreams stay with... In any case, Big Country seemed a little surprised that the song got as far as it did, but, you know, people really liked it. Especially in a scene where music seemed to be getting bigger and flashier and kinda dumb. Like, here was a good old working man's rock band, like Scottish Springsteen's. Kurt Loder's review in Rolling Stone said Big Country blows the knobs off the synth pop diddlers and mops up the fops. Some undertones to that, I think. But still, In a Big Country is a real classic of the genre. And proof that the people of the 80s did still want good, solid, meaningful rock and roll. You know, this band and the other one.
Yeah, it's funny that the bands, the two British bands that are doing so well out there are yourselves and U2. And then it says there's a real Scottish feel to your music, and obviously there's a real Celtic feel to U2. Now, is that something that the Americans are desperate for?
Funny that one of those bands will become the most pretentious band alive. Huh, so what happened to the other one? Technically, their follow-up to In a Big Country was the fourth single, Chance, which is a little, you know, kind of a slow one for me. I don't really like that one. For me, their real follow-up to their big hit was Wonderland, which actually out-charted In a Big Country in the UK. And is their only other charting single in America, although it did miss the top 40. Honestly, probably one day out of the week you could get me to say that this is their best song. It was certainly the one I got stuck in my head the most writing this episode. But that is their last song in the Hot 100, at a time when America was eating up British acts like candy. What went wrong there? Well, here's the thing about America. America is in fact a large nation, a sizable republic, an expansive commonwealth. You follow?
What were your impressions of America then, Stuart? You just got back.
I was quite surprised by just the vastness of the place.
Most of what I know about this band I got from the book Stuart Adamson in a Big Country by Alan Glenn. And the book actually found the band's manager and asked him why they sold out in the US, and I will paraphrase his answer here. Did you guys know that breaking America is actually really fucking hard? All right? It's insanely hard. You have to make breaking America basically your full-time job. You have to spend like 9 months at a time there doing shows. Maybe some acts don't feel like doing that, all right? Which is true enough. Do you know why U2 are so big? It's because they lived, ate, and breathed America for like 4 years. They kissed America's ass like they were Toby Keith. So yeah, basically just go back to all my other episodes about big British acts that couldn't cross over and just insert that rant into it, all right? So that those old videos make sense. But for the record, it seemed like they also kind of blew their chances with their follow-up album, Steel Town, which is not really a bad record, but it didn't really do as well and did not have that killer single. The production is kind of harsh. Also, it's mostly about Thatcher-era politics and small-town Britain. A lot of stuff that, you know, Americans don't really relate to. Like, I have no understanding of what 1952 Kill McComb is supposed to invoke. or if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. In 1984, they canceled their US tour, citing exhaustion, which is usually a euphemism for bad sales or a substance problem.
When Big Country cancelled its US tour last year and disappeared from the public eye, rumours began flying about leader Stuart Adamson's condition and the possible demise of the band.
Or sometimes it actually is exhaustion, who knows. The band went on break for a couple of years. What were they doing in the meantime?
I retired to Transylvania for a few months and took up a vampirish existence.
I'm pretty sure he's joking. I think. Incidentally, during the break, Tony Butler subbed in briefly for the Pretenders, and he fucking wrote the bass line for My City Was Gone, which is fucking awesome. But Big Country, we're not done. Since a lot of people said the production on Steel Town was a little too raw, they polished it up a lot on their next album, 1986's The Seer. And that's a pretty big hit in the UK, especially the lead single, Look Away, which became their biggest UK hit yet, even bigger than In a Big Country had been. Also, it's a bop, and I love it. Oh man, is that a Highlander reference in the video? Or is that just what Scotland looks like? Yeah, this is a pretty well-liked album in Europe. It's their most Celtic album. They even got Kate Bush on the title track. Had a few hits, good times. Unfortunately, after this, things start to go off track. Okay, so on the last album, they went a little more pop. Their career got back on track. I guess they wanted to keep that momentum going, so for their next one, they hired the producer Peter Wolf, best known for such tracks as Everybody Have Fun Tonight and We Built This City on Rock and Roll, Built This City. Yeah, and so that record is just corporate cheese rock out the ass. I know where all that time has gone. I'm on that love, king of deeper than me. I mean, it did get airplay, which is better, it was designed to, but I think it cost them more than it gained. I know that love is king of emotion. Love is the king of emotion. That's not a meaningful thought. I mean, I guess it could have been worse. It's not We Built This City, but it's not good. I'm not a fan. A lot of people weren't either. Did I mention the album is called Peace in Our Time? Yeah, maybe a bad sign that they named it after one of the worst, most infamous bad predictions in history. And then the 90s happened.
Tonight performing a song from the new CD. Please welcome Big Country.
And look, they're still here. Yeah, they did make a go of it for a lot longer than you'd think. Even though they sounded completely different trying to get their edge back. Like this one is called Republican Party Reptile. It's a nuclear power and insider deals. Which I guess is supposed to be making fun of all the cool yuppies and Patrick Batemans of the world. Like, I'm a cool Republican. He drives me home when he's in those like, I'm not a stuffy Republican, I'm a cool Republican. It's an awfully American title, too. If it was supposed to hit big in America, it didn't, and they were clearly on the decline. And they started to sound like it. After 1984, they sound like a different band on every album. Sometimes even on the same album, like they're throwing everything at the wall. And you can tell things are starting to get to Stewart here because his music starts becoming a little more downbeat. Where were you when my ship went down? Where were you when I ran you to ground? Like, here's their 1995 album, Why the Long Face? Like, it's like the record company's making fun of him. And here's another song he wrote called You Dreamer, which I think is about his disappointment with life. In there all by himself, counting bucks upon the shelf, watching the window fill with flies. Oh, you dreamer, is this the way that you believed your life was gonna turn out? Not exactly In a Big Country, is it? I hate to say it, but there is a story being told in these songs and album covers.
His first solo album, A Cry for Help, contained numbers like if I had a gun. And this just spiraled down to the next album.
In 1999, it seemed like they might have been on the verge of a comeback. But then their comeback song got disqualified from the charts for some bizarre reason. Something involving a technicality in the packaging. It sounds like he didn't take it well, and here's where the story turns dark. For the next couple of years, Adamson started really going off the boil. There were a lot of reports of him missing shows, being too drunk to perform. Apparently he was having marital problems. And in 2001, he suddenly disappeared. After a search of a couple days, it was discovered that he'd flown to Hawaii, and he ended it all. Yeah. In the wake of the news, tributes to Stuart Adamson were posted everywhere, especially on internet music boards where a budding music nerd named Todd in the Shadows, who had just discovered the internet, read these tributes and decided to get into the band, meaning that this is one of the few episodes I didn't go into completely blind. One of the tributes at his funeral was from The Edge, who said that Adamson wrote the songs that U2 couldn't. And in 2005, U2 and Green Day did a duet on a skid song for Hurricane Katrina relief. A lot of you probably recognized it when I played it earlier. The rest of the band kept touring with various other lead singers, including Mike Peters, frontman of another big music band, The Alarm, and they even put out a new album. Obviously, it's just not the same without Stuart. And it just feels really wrong that the guy who wrote such an optimistic song ended so tragically. It's like if that fake story that the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" guy killed himself was true. Ah, man, what a world. Boy, that sure took the smile away from everybody's face. This is why I never wanted to do this video, but I had to because of the request, and because most of the videos about this band on YouTube are AI. I think we can all agree he deserves better than that. Yes, very yes. Or I, as they say in Scotland. Adamson's death is a tragedy for many reasons, but one of them is that In a Big Country is such a song of pure optimism, and it feels incredibly wrong that the guy who wrote it succumbed to despair. But I think it's a much better tribute to his memory that he'll always be remembered for this song first, and that's a fine legacy to have. As for the rest of their stuff, I'd check it out too, their first 3 albums especially. I don't think Big Country were ever gonna be like a top tier band, but they were a very good band who did a lot of good work and didn't sound like anyone else. Check them out. And that'll leave me with one more of these requests to go. Pull your head off the floor, come up screaming. Oh man, that's such a good song. And it looks like Amy agrees. Right, Amy? Amy? Hey, over here.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm afraid of shadows. But Todd is the exception. I feel like there's a pretty good chance that you like music, like many of us here on the TV screen. Well, hey, you should come over and join my dream house, where we'll have special musical guest performances with my lovely friends. Yeah, that's right, I got friends. My microwave, my TV, my cinder block, and my snake. And they're very cool, and they like me a lot, and they talk to me all day long. So.
I think I will, Amy. And you should too, so come on everyone and check out Amy's Dead End Dream House, a surreal trip into the magical, whimsical, wacky fun land that we all imagined we would grow up to live in when we were kids, except that the wacky talking cartoon appliances have to deal with our whining about our depressing adult problems, like bills and loneliness. Amy's Dead End Dream House is streaming exclusively on Nebula, the creator-built platform that's home to smart, weird, one-of-a-kind shows you won't find anywhere else. You'll find exclusives from H-Bomber Guy, Philosophy Tube, and myself, and other brilliant minds behind the internet's best content. Plus, you'd be helping me out, which I'd appreciate. There's no ads, no algorithm, just good stuff made by good quality creators, not, content mills or AI. So if you want to watch Amy's Dead End Dream House and a ton of other amazing Nebula originals, use my link to get 40% off. That's just $36 a year or $3 a month. Click the link, scan the QR code, and start watching now. Thank you and good night.